Good day, Tamers. Welcome back to some more episodes with me, Gear Swiftly, and living life as a rogue. For those who don't know, I am a massive Gallantmon simp, and I should have probably found my DC1 map, but you're going to have to stick with the Tamer map for now, because I don't know where I put it. It's sad. For a while now, a lot of people have been concerned about the BT11 meta, especially since it will be the meta that we use for Worlds and Finals and Nationals, because we call all different things, even though it's for the most part the same thing. Rogue, this format isn't too bad, because the rogue in this format that you have to deal with is Black or Greymon. He's pretty good, he's pretty tough, but he does have weaknesses against being deleted, and that's where we turn up today. Hey Tamers, if you're new here, please drop a like and subscribe to this channel. We're going to put some more deck profiles up in the next few days and the coming weeks up into the BT11 meta. We'd really appreciate if you guys would support us, as we can do all the help we can get. So see you guys after this. So, for those of you who've never played Gallantmon before, you want to play 4 of the EX2 Digimon. Draw power, fantastic in any card game, especially in this one, because you just want to churn out your deck as quick as possible. Now, milling isn't really a massive concern in BT11, and especially, well, biggest time you have to worry about milling now would be EX4, where an actual full mill deck is real. But right now, this is all you need to be concerned about, is just drawing your deck as quick as possible. Playing these, swing with a Gallantmon, swing with a Growlmon, swing with a Wargreymon, swing with a Gallantmon in its name, you will draw a card. 1 Calamon. No other reason than just because I want to. When you Digivolve, gain a memory, draw a card, gain 3000 DP to the end of your turn. This can be the difference between you getting crashed into by a Black Wargreymon and you punching over it and you just looking at your opponent going, I guess it wasn't meant to be, pal. Because, you know, it's the favoured deck in the format, but you can get pretty chunky in this deck. Then we're going to run 4 of the ST7 Gallantmon. This is here in case you did sort of get stabbed in the back of the turn before. This is currently in breeding area, so you can move it out. Your opponent's got a level 6, so you can warp into a Gallantmon. 2 cards on the field, you gain Blitz. There are quite a few effects that are really useful now. Also, it gains you a draw when you delete something and your opponent's on the field. We're drawing our deck. But no, this is probably the best one to have in your breeding area if you can get access to it. Then, our best on-play card we have in this deck currently is a Mr. Gallantmon. Mr. Gallantmon here is our searcher. He searches for a Takato, as well as a Growl or a Gallantmon in its name. You are looking for anything in this deck that is essentially a digivolution of Gallantmon. And you've got access to, I want to say in this deck, like 20 names maybe? 18 names? There's 25 names maybe? There's a fair few in this deck. But no, it's a fairly good searcher. If you do have to Digivolve on top of it though, when you attack, it does delete an opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. That is affected, I believe, by the DP increases on the X antibody cards that are in this deck. So you can go up to 5k, so that's some low blockers as well as half the level 4s currently running around. It also is just a nice card. Although the alt art for this is kind of disappointing and it's currently spiking and I think it looks awful. I'm hoping that when we get this year's Ultimate Cup, we get Gallantmon stuff and that you get a nice alt art to that card, because that's all I really want in life. Gallantmon X Antibody. Here should affect your turn, put 1000 DP on all of your DP based deletion effects. But you also, when you Digivolve, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. We're deleting the searchers. All the rookies are getting thrown out and all the searchers are getting rushed off. Obviously the issue you got now is Commandramon is kind of going to enjoy being playing against you, as well as some of the Immon variants that might be out there, which we'll go over in a different video. Then, for our level 4s, we're going to play 4 of the Growl. Now, I've not really tested this out much yet, but I have heard this is probably the best way to play this deck, because you need to get 2 trash in the trash to be able to get your Takato out on the following evolution. So when you evolve for 2, and then just throw down. If you can't delete something from your opponent's side, trash 2 cards. Awesome. Now, you are kind of hoping to trash a card from your deck that may have Gallantmon or Takato in its name. In EX4, we do get access to a Gallantmon with Rush, so throwing him out early is probably not the worst idea. And then we have access to the X Antibody line with this very angry looking Growlmon. One day this will be altered, I swear, or at least foiled out a bit more. Again, you're just digivolving on top of this to get an extra draw, but it does also have the extra 1000 DP on deletion effects, which can come in clutch if you want to get rid of some low blockers or some kind of troublesome cards you might be dealing with on the opponent's side of the field. Playing 4 of the EX3 or Gallantmons. I wish this was a rare, so it'd be shiny. When digivolving, both players trash the top 3 cards of their deck. 3, not 2, 3. Then, if there's 5 trash in either player's trash, so I don't know if it's worded incorrectly, if it's meant to be 5 overall, or if it's meant to be literally 5 in yours or 5 in your opponent's, which I think it is meant to be that one. You may play a Takato as well as a Gallantmon from your trash. Now, I have considered playing the deletion Gallantmon, so that way if you do put it into the trash, you can pull it out, you can delete it again, trash more cards, or delete something from your opponent's side of the field, and gain the effects of the ST+1. To be fair, this deck doesn't really worry about the ST+1 so much because you generally want to trash your opponent's security stack. But this is here essentially just to get Takatos on the field a little bit earlier, and it's not if there's one on the field already, it's just every time you do this, put Takato on the field. So if your opponent's deleting all your Takatos, every time you go into that Digimon, you're going to gain a Takato back. It's all good. Playing 4 of these, this might go down to 3. I need to figure out what I want to do with this really, but I think 4 right now is just healthy because there's not really a other level 5 that you want to see, so you might want to put another level 6 in instead of. We'll go for that in a second. When digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, 2 of their Digimon gain on deletion, lose 1 memory. If War Gallantmon or Excellence Body is in this Digimon's digivolution cards, you may now delete your opponent's Digimon that add up to 6000 DP. This is essentially just getting rid of a blocker. I also believe it does get affected by the X Antibody, Growl, and Gallantmon, so that goes to 8k. So you can pop some of your opponents 5ks instead, which is fairly handy when you just need to get rid of something on the side of the field that your opponent is staring at you with. But no, fairly standard X Antibody core just to try and get more draws out and try and get your stack a bit bigger and a bit more chunky. 1 Gallantmon from BT2. This is here for security punching down. This deck itself, you're kind of looking to brawl more than anything else. You want to be punching your opponent's stacks, get them in the trash, they get put back a turn. You can then sort of have a free swing at security. As you do, you take top X amount of security off. So with this card, for instance, let's say we've got your opponents down to 5 trash already. You punch into their Black War Greymon. That's 8 cards. That goes into the trash. Your opponent now has 13 cards in trash. You now have access to trashing the top card of your opponent's security on the next swing. Because you've been deleting all the little things as you go up the ladder, they don't have anything currently available on the field, so they are having to sort of hope and wing that you won't just annihilate them the following turn. Also, on digivolving, if you've got a red Tamer in play, delete something with 6k or less. This also gains the effect of the additional DP reduction things, so again you'll be 8k. Card's fantastic, card's really good. Better in EX4. Then we play 3 of the ST7 Gallantmons. The main reason why is because he's a super cheap version of Gallantmon. He's a free cost, and he does gain DP if you don't delete something from your opponent's side of the field, which sometimes might be the case. Again, you'll be gaining DP increments from your Gil and Growl. So this could be 6k instead, so you are doing kind of the same as that the other one does, but this one does not need a Tamer in play. If you didn't delete something, you do get to gain 3000 DP, so you are actually a 14k plus 1 security attack chompy boy. It's a fairly good card. Love the artwork. If you didn't Tamer artwork. It's probably the best Gallantmon that we have currently. The raid one's pretty cool, but I do think he's going to be sticking around for a lot longer because he's very, very cool. Then we play 2 of the X Antibodies. I like it. It's essentially a... If I delete something, I get to pop a security. If I don't get to delete something, I get to underspend and then swing into your security. The card is fairly favourable. It's very good because it will be deleting the lowest DP thing on the field, which might be a case of just a searcher. Worst case scenario for your opponent, it's their big beat stick, depending on what you've been doing. As I said, like you travel up this line so much of just doing delete this, delete that, delete this, delete that you'll be gaining memory, you'll be gaining draws, you'll be gaining blitzes just from digivolving. But no, this does have, it does see reasonable play, and it just makes sense to play this in the deck. It only costs 1 to digivolve from a Gallantmon as well, but blitz is blitz. Then we're going to play 2 Crimson modes. When Digivolve, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP. If you're somehow falling behind at some point and you've just got the outs and you've pulled this card and you can use it, by gum, your opponent just died. Board basically. You pick a Digimon, if they've all got the same DP, they're all getting taken out. That is kind of the weird thing about this deck is, if your opponents just have like say 2 or 3 like 9k Digimon on the field, you just delete their board. And then your opponent just stares at you like, well, what am I going to do? It's like, you just get to watch me win now. This is the duped up version of the BT2 Gallantmon. It starts off when it swings, it takes the security card from the security stack. But every 10 after that, it does an increment of 1. So if your opponent's at 10 trash, you're taking 2 before you hit the stack. If you're at 20 trash, they're taking 3 from the top before you hit their security. If you take their security out before you actually hit the security, you can swing for game. This card it's an absolute nightmare, but it is fantastic. It's definitely needed in a format where there's big beat sticks around and you just need to be able to take them out. 6 is a very expensive cost, but because you'll be blitzing and because your opponent's going to be sort of on the back foot where they can't fight back, it does make sense. For our Tamers, we play 3 of the Takatos, and the reason why is because Blitz is fantastic. It affects all of your Digimon in this deck because everything is either digivolving up from a Growl or into a Gallant. Also, when you delete things, which is what this deck's basically based around, you suspend this to gain a memory, so possibly 3 memories. You don't play 4 of this card just because you don't necessarily need to. I know some people like to play 4 because they just like to have the extra chance or extra access to it, but to be fair, if you are going to be milling your own deck out and you are going to be drawing so much, you're going to find it and you'll be able to play it, so you don't have to worry about too much. Then we play 2 cool boys, because we're playing X antibody package. Makes sense if people want to play at least 2 of these. Maybe put this to 3. It's down to you. I think 2 is the nice spot where it's going to be found a lot. You don't really need to use it as the main force of the deck. A lot of your deck is essentially, when I get to level 6, I start just pushing on. But the extra draw and memory gain early on can be the difference between you getting to your Mega or you sticking at your ultimate for an extra turn. Then we play 1 Tai and Kari and 1 Hero. Hero is just a memory setter. If you really wanted to, you could play Tai instead, just to have the extra security attack. But as I said earlier, you don't really care about swinging into your opponent's security so much as essentially swinging into your opponent's Digimon, deleting them, and then trashing it with the effects of like BT2 or the Crimson mode. Or popping it with Gallantmon X. But if you do have to start swinging to your opponent's Digimon, when you swing, you can gain the extra 2000 DP on the swing by suspending this. Tai and Kari, though, if you do somehow get to a point where you're just at 3 and 3 of your opponent, gaining the extra 2 memory at the start of turn is really good, and having the ability to reduce something's DP by 2000 is really good. Again, Gallantmon is kind of a wussy. He only has 11k. It's very easy for him to like crash in security and just fall over. So being able to check in security acting as a 13k is a lot nicer than you think it can be. Because there's not many cards out there that are 13k, but there's definitely a lot of cards out there that are at least 12k. Now for the option cards, last but not least, play 2 Crimson modes. This is because there's about 3 or 4 decks out there right now that do want to go wide. Looking at Jesmon, looking at Bloom Lord. X kind of goes a little bit wide, as well as Blue Flare kind of likes to go a bit sideways because it can. If Armor's getting played still, Armor does tend to go a little bit wide just because of like the interaction of just constantly putting your VMons down to search. But being able to stop things from being played by effects is really good, and it's very useful when you can do it for a very cheap cost, if not 0 sometimes, because some people would literally throw out all of their systemons and then they just sit there and wonder what's happened because they just fell over. 2 fireballs. This is here just essentially to gain the draws. Again, if you really need to just delete something to gain maybe memory from the Takatos, then you can do that. If it's maybe something else where your opponent's just got a let's for instance to say they've got themselves a beautiful search on the field that you know is going to swing for game next turn, and you've got no way of getting rid of it because they haven't swung with it, and you can't delete it because there's nothing, your effects going to work because they're all on digivolving, and you don't have the correct sources to be able to, when you attack, delete something. This could be the thing that saves you from a turn. But 9 times out of 10, you're just using it for the draws, because the draws are just fantastic in any deck, and this one just like it. And again, because we're already using the X antibody package, you know we're going to play this right now. Playing 2 of the X antibodies. Card is fairly good. Obviously, if you find it in security, you gain the memory and put it to your hand, which just annoys anyone who's like, oh man, I was at 0 memory, now I've got to lose to you now. Yeah, happens. But this is here in case that you don't get to find the EX3 Gallantmon, or if you don't find a Gallantmon and you have to go into the X antibody, just having the X antibody in a source is obviously going to make it a bit easier for you to play around those situations. But that's the deck profile, guys. If you've enjoyed it here, please subscribe. I'm sure you'll have my musky, tired, yawning voice and more action in the future. Next video, we're going to look at Impmon, because Beelzemon's really good right now. It's not having to deal with D-Reaper, which was kind of his biggest issue. It can be a bit bricky, but the deck can just turn itself into like full-on like turn free and taking like free security, and you can't punch over me. And I'm not scared of anything use security either. It's a good deck. But see you guys next time. Peace out and goodbye, and have a fantastic week. Oh, and don't forget to come to the Swiftly Cup. See you soon. Bye.